I don't know why, but I could never remember to start recording until after I've done the first question. So anyways, make sure you get that down. And our goal was to get y by itself. Okay. All right, so question 2. Michelle, do you have a question, or do you just automatically have that hand raised?
I accidentally pushed that.
Okay, that's fine. So, all right. So question number 2, we got 3x minus 4y is equal to 16. All right, so on this right here, we're going to draw our line. And once again, we're the instructions say to get y by itself. So anytime that we see that we're getting y by itself and we have x and y on the same side, we always do the same thing. So it'll look exactly like this question right here. And like I said, we're going to do a ton of these this year so that you guys will get really good at this, because it is really important on the STAR test. So I don't want you to think, oh, right now I don't know how to do this. That's fine. We're going to be doing this almost every single day. We're going to practice getting y by itself. And you're going to get really used to these steps, and it'll get to where it's really easy. All right, so the first thing we're always going to do is get rid of the x first. So we're going to subtract 3x and minus 3x. So we subtract 3x to both sides. And we subtracted because this was positive. What's up? Okay. So, so this cancels out, and we're going to bring down our negative 4y. It's very important to remember that negative sign. I didn't really stress it over here, but today when we did this in class, a lot of students were able to do everything except they were forgetting this negative sign. And so make sure you always remember the negative sign. All right, we can never combine these right here, so we're going to write negative 3x, and then the 16 will go, so it's a positive 16, so plus 16.
I gotta go to the restroom.
That's fine, you're good. And then, okay, so our first step is always to get rid of the x, okay? And you never combine these. The second step is always divide by what's in front of y. So if you look over here, we got rid of the x, we divided by what was in front of y. So it's the same thing every time. So these cancel out. And then like I said, right now you might be terrible with fractions, but once we get the Inspire calculator loaded onto y'all's computers, then all you're going to do is you'll plug in the fraction into the calculator and it automatically reduces it for you. So the fraction should never be an issue. So when we put this into the calculator reduces it to just 3/4. So 2 negatives make a positive there. And then same thing here, you'll just plug this into the calculator. The calculator will give us -4. And so if it's a negative, you'd put -4. Okay. So I want to make sure everybody has gotten that written down. Does anybody need me to pause, or are we all good? Okay, I'm going to take that as we're all good. All right, so I'm going to clear this. All right, question number 3. All right, so question number 3 is going to be new material. So a lot of times you'll see that we start off with a review. So we kind of reviewed some stuff from last week. All right, so this is brand new today. So when we draw our line and then we go to circle our X, we see a problem here. So there's X's on both sides. Now, yesterday we talked about if X's are on the same side, you can just combine them. But when we have X's on different sides, then we cannot combine them. So I can't say 4X plus 3X, can't do that. When they're on different sides, we have to get rid of the smallest X. So we're going to get rid of the smallest X right here. So 3X is the smallest X. So we're going to minus 3X. And we're going to do it to both sides. So minus 3X and minus 3X.
So don't even make a sign.
All right, so these will cancel out. And then 4 minus 3 would be 1, but whenever you have an X there, you are not required to write a 1 because 1 times anything is itself. And so when we get 1 here, we're just going to write X. If you write 1, it's not wrong, but a lot of times if you put the 1 there, you end up doing an extra step that you don't have to do, but it's not wrong if you put a 1 there. All right, so we bring down the 12 and we bring down the 7. And now this is what we've been doing. So I have 1X over here. Now you can circle the X. And we always get rid of the one that's furthest away. We only got one thing here, and so that's this plus 12 here. So to get rid of it, we do the opposite. So we're going to minus 12 and minus 12. And once again, this is where I would plug this into the calculator. So 7 minus 12 in the calculator would be negative 5. So that's our answer right there. All right, question 4. All right, so we have negative 3 minus 4.7x is equal to 7.3x plus 9. All right, so we draw our line here. And once again, this is the new thing today, is that when I go to circle my X, I got X's on both sides. So since they're on different sides, we have to get rid of the smallest one. And so the smallest one right here is going to be this negative 4.7. So don't forget that negative right there. So how do we get rid of a negative 4.7? We do the opposite. 4.7x. So we're going to add 4.7x. And we're going to do it to both sides. And you'll always write this underneath the x's. So we're going to write it underneath. So these will cancel out. So now all my x's are on one side. All right, so once again, there's a decimal there. I'm going to use my calculator here. And 7.3 plus 4.7 comes out to be 12x plus 9. And so once you get all your x's to one side, now we can circle the x. And the rule is that the x is the inside of the onion. The 12 is on the inside with this x. So we want to peel the layers back from the outside. So the outside layer would be this 9 right here. So we're going to minus 9. So we want to minus 9 to both sides. So this cancels out right here. And then in your calculator, negative 3 minus 9 would give you negative 12. And we want to keep stressing that once you get this Inspire calculator, I hope that you have the Inspire calculator by the time that we take our first test. And don't even begin to ask me how we're going to take our first test, because I don't know. My bosses are making the test, and so I don't know, but there'll be some way for y'all to take it. And once they tell me, I'll tell y'all. But hopefully by the time we take our first test, you'll have the Inspire calculator. All right. So now we're still getting x by itself.
Mister,
Yes.
when you done with this, can you not take it out? I'm still writing number 4.
Yeah. So once I stop, I won't move on until you tell me you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
So we divided both of these by 12, so that cancels these out. And then here, you're going to put this in the calculator, and negative 12 divided by 12 would give us negative 1 is equal to x. All right, so let's clear this. So question 5 is a picture problem today, and I'm going to do a very poor job of drawing this picture. Yesterday we skipped the picture problem, but I need to go over at least one of these with y'all so that you kind of understand how to do this. So first off, I'm going to tell you I am terrible at word problems and picture problems. So when you guys are terrible at it, just understand I'm terrible at it. So when I became a teacher, I had to get better at it. And so I'm going to teach you some of the tricks that I do to help myself out. Now, if you are like, man, this is just Chinese, then we have a strategy in my class. Anytime you have a problem that's too hard, obviously if I'm doing it with you, then you still need to do it. But on a test, if you're like, oh man, I can't do this, then we have a testing strategy that says that I'm going to guess the same letter every time. And so most kids choose C. So here's what I tell kids. When we do this, if it doesn't make any sense to you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But on a test, you're telling me I'm committing to guessing C whenever I see this question, okay? And so, and I know that may sound weird that you've never had a teacher tell you that before, but you don't want to randomly guess on a test. So you don't want to guess A and then D and then B, because that's like playing the lottery, and it's really hard to win the lottery. And so anytime that we are guessing on something, we're always going to guess C. And what I can guarantee you on my test, if you can get the easy questions, and once you get the Inspire calculator, a lot of these questions become a lot easier because a lot of y'all probably remember you can do these in the calculator. And so we're just waiting on that Inspire calculator, for y'all to get it so that you can do them in the calculator. So if you can do these questions in the calculator and do some of these easier questions, and then anything that's hard, you get a C on, I guarantee you, you'll never fail one of my tests, okay? The reason most kids fail tests is they can't do the easy ones or they won't get C. And so if you can do the easy ones and then on any hard ones get C, now it's not going to give you a great grade, but you will pass. If you're trying to make an A or a B, then you got to get some of these harder ones. So on this question, it's actually a word problem, and then it looks like this at the bottom. The trick that I look for is I'm always looking for equations. And this isn't an equation, but it does give me this equal sign right here. And so anytime we see this equal 64, it's telling me I want to write equal 64 right here. So anytime we see an equals 64 or equals whatever, then we're going to put equals that number. So they're giving you half the equation. So then we come back, and there's two key words that we use a lot, area and perimeter. So perimeter means to add the distance around. Area is base times height. And that's the most common formula that we use in algebra. So this isn't geometry. We won't give you a whole bunch of crazy formulas. Usually if it says area, it's base times height. So this is your base and this is your height. So we're going to multiply these together. Now, because this has a minus sign, we're going to put this in parentheses. So 4a minus 24, and then we're going to multiply it by 8. So this is kind of a tough question right here, okay? So on your worksheets, if you've been looking at these worksheets, if you've been able to do some of the easy questions, but then you get to the harder questions and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I don't want you stressing over that, okay? Because if it's an equation, the calculator will help us. And if it's just a harder question, then you're always allowed to guess C. And it should totally change the way you test, because on a test, I want you to think about this real quick. If you see a hard question on a test, like I should never see you just going, oh my gosh, how do I do this? You should be like, oh sweet, this is hard. I'm going to guess C and move on. And so it totally changes the way that you take a test now. And I know you'll think I'm crazy, but it works. All right. So on this, we talked yesterday, anytime you see parentheses, we're going to do the distributive property. So, and I call these mountaintops right here, and mountaintops mean to multiply. So we're going to go 8 times 4 would be 32a. And then 8 times negative 24, I think, is a negative 192. Trying to remember from class today. And then is equal to 64. All right, so now we can circle the A. And so this is on the inside. And so we want to get rid of the outside first. So we're going to get rid of 192. And I'm getting to the bottom of this, so I got to start squeezing this in. 192. So those cancel out, and we get 32a is equal to, I think that's 256. And then we're trying to get a by itself. And so when they're side by side, that means they're being multiplied. I had a kid yesterday say, they're not social distancing, so we got to divide them apart. So I don't care how you remember we're dividing. You can say they're not social distancing, so we got to divide them apart, or just know anytime they're side by side, we got to divide them apart. So we're dividing by 32. That cancels. And then A is equal to, I think it's 8. And once again, all these big numbers, you're just plugging into the calculator. Or, like I said, once we get this Inspire calculator, we're going to show you how, and maybe y'all remember from last year how you can just plug it in the calculator and let the calculator do it. And so, like I said, don't get frustrated on these if you're struggling. I will say, if you know you're planning on going to college, then yes, you need to know how to do this by hand. But if you're like, man, I'm just trying to pass the class and just trying to graduate, like I said, we're going to take care of you. I just need that Inspire calculator to be downloaded to you guys. All right, so question 6. So we're going to have 2x plus 3 is equal to 3 plus 2x. All right, so we're going to draw our line. And when we go to circle our x, we got x's on both sides. So we got to get rid of the smallest one. But you should notice something here. When you look at these, they're the same. So there is no smaller one. Right away, bells should be going off. Ding, ding, ding. This is a special one. So we're going to go ahead and just pick one. I'm going to get rid of this one. So minus 2x and minus 2x. So these cancel and these will cancel. And it leaves us with 3 equals 3. So anytime all of our x's disappear, this is a special answer. And like I said, it's time for you to test. I'm going to show you where all these posters are, because there are posters that you can look at and you can have up while you test. In my room, I got posters up that have special solutions. So, but anytime that all the x's disappear, it's either going to be all real numbers or no solution. If these numbers equal each other, so 3 equals 3, that's true, then we're going to put all real numbers. So all real numbers. Now, if that's too much to write, there's this thing, if you can draw it, and not many people can, I call it the double-backed R. You can draw an R with 2 backs, and that means all real numbers. So you can do either of those. But you got to be really talented like me to draw that right there. I think I've only had one kid today be able to draw it in class. So anytime that all your x's disappear and these two numbers equal each other, it's going to be all real numbers. So I'm going to pause for a second. Does anybody need me to hold up while you copy this down, or are y'all all good?
I'm good.
Good? All right.
Wait.
Okay, I'll wait. Give me a chance. This is my lunchtime, so I don't get to eat lunch. I'm going to get a drink.
Okay, there.
You good? Okay. So let's see. We got 2 more problems we're going to do today, and then we'll be done. So we're going to do question 7. And we get 4 parentheses, x minus 2 equals 4x minus 2. All right, so we're going to draw our line. Now this time I can't do anything because we've got parentheses. So anytime we have parentheses, we got to do our mountaintops. All right, so anytime we do mountaintops mean to multiply. So 4 times x would just be 4x, just squish them together. And 4 times negative 2 would be negative 8. All right, so now when we look at this, we got x's on both sides. So we get rid of the smallest one, but they're both the same. So this is going to be another special one. So we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to get rid of this one. So minus 4x and minus 4x. So all my x's disappear whenever they're the same. And when I say they're the same, they have to be the exact same. So like if one was a negative and one was a positive, then they wouldn't cancel out. So both of them have to be a positive, both of them have to be a negative for them to cancel out. So I'm left with negative 8 is equal to negative 2. Now, do these equal each other? No. So when they don't equal each other, we call this no solution. And if you don't want to write no solution, then you can draw that right there. That means no solution. And then for the last question today, I'm actually going to skip to question 10. And I told y'all we're going to be seeing a lot of these, so I'm going to keep plugging these on because we're probably going to see about 10 questions on the STAR test that will involve us doing something when you got to get y by itself. And so we're not just practicing this, like I said, for like this unit. We're going to be practicing this almost every day for about 6 months. So you're going to get to where you're really good at this, and it'll take you about 15, 20 seconds to do this. Now, I know right now we're going really slow, but like I said, after doing this every day for so long, you're going to get really good at this. So anytime we're trying to get y by itself and y and x are on the same side, we're always going to get rid of the x first. So if this is a positive x, we're going to subtract x to both sides. We will never combine these right here. So we write the x first and then minus 16. We're going to bring down our positive 4y. All right, so that's the first step, is we always get rid of the x. The second step is always going to be divide by what's in front of y. So divide by what's in front of y. And then the fraction part, the calculator, the Inspire calculator will always take care of this. So you'll put the fractions into the calculator. So if you had the calculator today, it would tell you it does not reduce. So we just simply rewrite that. When we plug this into the calculator, it does reduce, and it would tell you -4, so we would put -4. And you can see that went a little bit quicker because I didn't take as much time to explain it. But like I said, when you're not explaining it at all, that starts going really fast. And so, like I said, there's just a lot of questions that involve doing this exact same steps that we're doing. So, okay. So now we're going to talk about how to submit this and take a picture. Is everybody good? Because I'm about to exit.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. I'm just going to wait a second just to make sure nobody says no, because we got a lot of people on here. So.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so let me show you now how to take the picture and submit it.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop sharing real quick. All right. So I'm going to okay. So you guys, when you are logging on, you're going into Canvas, right? one in Canvas. And sorry, mine's a little weird. So I'm just going to pick one real quick and go into it. And this is what you're seeing. I do want to remind you of a couple of things real quick. So if you have not done some of your past assignments, I've put this up here right here, this recordings of Zoom tutorials. So like I'm recording this one. If you want to go look at some old assignments because you didn't get them done, then you can click on that and go watch old assignments and get them done and then submit them. All right, so I'm going to go into today's assignment right here. So today is day 4. By the way, if you did day 3, you want to kind of keep this to-do list clean. So like if you did yesterday's assignment, you can X out of it. That way it cleans it up. Okay. All right. So we're going to click on day 4. And so hopefully you guys have already done your online attendance form. I did put another link to the recordings. All right. So we're going to go into to both sides. So that's our assignment. You need to type your name. So Coach Settles. Put the period that you have me. So right now I'm just going to put forth because I don't know what each of y'all have. And then if you are working with me, you don't need to watch this video. This video is if you're trying to do it by yourself. So we're just going to go to next. Once again, you don't need to watch that video, but right here where it says add file. Now, we need to go take a picture. So some of y'all have this search bar. Can y'all see the search bar on y'all's screen? Can y'all see that right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have the search bar, then you can type in camera. If you do not have the search bar, then touch this right here, and you're going to go find camera. So it should be under C, so you should be able to see it pretty quickly. Now, my camera is not going to work right now because I have my video showing, so I always forget that. So hold on one second. I'm going to stop my video. Okay. So now when I type in camera, my camera will work, okay? So when you take your picture, I don't care if I see your face or not, but either you need to hold this up, make sure I see the entire thing. It helps if it's readable. So I've got some pictures that I can tell y'all did work, but it's hard to read. So you can either lean to the side and then click on the button to take your picture, or if you don't want your face to be in the picture, if you stand up, then you can see right here and you can still take your picture. And and then you could take a picture of the front and the back of your paper. Like if you're working on more than one sheet of paper, then you can take, more than one picture. So once you take that picture, the picture will be in your computer and you can X out. So before I move on, does anybody have any questions on how to bring up the camera? Do I need to go over that again?
No, sir.
Okay. Everybody's good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you take the picture, you're going to go to add file right here. So you're going to click on add file, and we're going to select this from your device because the picture's in our device right now. Yes. Now, remember, it's a picture. So over here on the left, if you find picture, click on that. It's in our camera roll. So double click on the camera roll. And then it's always going to be the last. So if we go all the way down and just click on yours, it might be the only picture. I don't know. And if you need to click on more than one picture, so hold on one second. So I'm just going to. So if you want to click on an extra picture, then just click on add more files. And so if you took 2 pictures, you can do it there. When you're done, you'll click on upload. And then if there's an icon here, then it's uploaded and you can hit submit. And once you hit submit, you're done.